Have you ever engaged in a serious debate over which is better, Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings? Have you ever played Smash or Pass using only characters from Star Wars and Marvel movies? If you answered yes to any of these questions, we have the podcast for you. Listen to The Steam Gentlemen, the podcast where an expert panel convenes to ask the questions about pop culture and social commentary that other podcasts are afraid to ask. Listen to The Steam Gentlemen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling Fans International Association is back. That's right, the premier fan club association of the 1970s and 1980s has been revived and is back in business. Join today. It's free at thewfia.org. That's thewfia.org. You can also join us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/WFIA 1969. Welcome back, everybody, to Chronicles by Fleisch 1998. This is World Championship Wrestling, and I am your host, Brad Drake. Last night in the save was SuperBrawl VIII, and I gotta tell you, folks, it was one heck of a show. We actually scored in the 90s due to the outstanding main event rematch of Sting versus Hollywood Hogan. And in the words of the immortal Gorilla Monsoon, what a happening it was. Now, I have not edited these wrestlers. This is based on the fact the product we're using and their popularity, which has given them these numbers. Plus, for this show, I made sure to pre-book it. I set the ticket prices for as cheap as possible. So, major success across the board here, everybody. And this is what I'm talking about. So, we had some feuds going for the last couple months that we were able to close out with this, and some we're going to keep going. Rey Mysterio Jr. and Conan on pay-per-views are now one each. So, we're going to go a third pay-per-view with these two, which I think is going to be uncensored coming up next. Ray Traylor and Ernest Miller had a basic feud going. You could see it didn't really do all that hot. This one's over. Ray Traylor is going to actually be leaving WCW soon, and that's fine. I don't need him around. We did a little feud for the last 6 weeks between Vicious and Delicious and the Anvil and Davey Boy Smith. That one got a 68. It was a pretty nice score. Vicious and Delicious, of course, cheated to get the win. Eddie Guerrero was chasing Ultimo Dragon for that World Cruiserweight title. They had a good match here. Technical Masterclass got a 74. Dean Malenko and Chris Jericho are now one each on the last couple pay-per-views. Their feud is going to continue. Kevin Nash went to a double DQ with the Giant. This is going to keep their feud going. Now, Diamond Dallas Page beat Scott Hall to retain the U.S. title. That's going to put a conclusion to their feud. So we're going to put Scott Hall back partnered up with Kevin Nash as part of this feud with the Giant. And the Giant, of course, has himself aligned with Rowdy Roddy Piper in that feud. So things are working out here. Randy Savage beats Lex Luger by cheating. The Steiner brothers, I set up a quick feud with them with Chono and Tenzan, and they get the win over Chono and Tenzan. This is going to set up the Steiner brothers now for a feud with Harlem Heat. Yes, I've taken Booker T back out of the singles ranks, reunited him with Stevie Ray. Those two have a lot of mileage left. I can look into separating them down the road. Same thing with the Steiner brothers. I still to this day, 25 years later, I don't know why Eric Bischoff felt it necessary to break up all those teams. He could have done different things with them. That's what he did. To me, it was a mistake. I'm not going to make the mistake and do the same thing. Both of those teams have mileage left in them. And of course, our big main event saw Sting defend the World Heavyweight title against Hollywood Hogan in a rematch from Starrcade. That was an excellent, excellent year-plus long feud. Good stuff. Successful event for us. Just had some fun with them, some pre-show stuff here. Nothing serious. Steve Regal and Chris Adams, they're going to end that feud that they had. And just good stuff here. So let's take a look at the feuds we've already plugged into the system, because we have Nitro to tape, and Nitro's at 3 hours now, and I have not done a 3-hour Nitro yet, even though they changed the 3 hours in January. So I'm going to make the change here in March, and next episode we're going to do our 3-hour Nitro. All right? So our new feud is going to be Harlem Heat and the Steiner brothers. Bret Hitman Hart is going to enter a feud here with Hollywood Hogan. Curt Hennig and Ric Flair have been in a feud. I'm actually doing this right, since Flair came back after that long-term injury of getting his head crushed in the cage by Curt Hennig, which WCW just ignored in 1998. We're not. And this may actually headline Uncensored. Chris Jericho and Dean Malenko are going to continue their feud. Conan and Rey Mysterio Jr. are going to continue their feud. There it is, the Nash and the Giant feud edits there. Randy Savage is now going to enter a feud with Sting over the World Heavyweight title. Now we're going to see how we work this out, but again, this is exciting stuff here. We are also, I'm going to play around with a feud here with Davey Boy Smith and Lex Luger. I really don't have much to do with either one of them. They were tag partners before. It's not necessary to turn anybody heel here. We can have a face versus face feud. It's just two good competitors, powerhouses, that are going to lock up here. Now, here's another thing I'm going to do while you're here with me. We are going to put Buff Bagwell in the U.S. title picture against Page. So we're going to have Buff Bagwell is challenging Diamond Dallas Page for the U.S. heavyweight title. Okay? Now that may seem a little goofy, but Buff Bagwell's getting over, and this is just another good 1 or 2 month run for Diamond Dallas Page. So it's good stuff. All right, that leaves us Scott Norton kind of floating around out there. I'm considering doing Norton versus Luger before Smith and Luger, and letting Davey Boy just continue to partner with the Anvil. And you know what? It's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to add the storyline here, because now we're going to be able to have tag matches with Page and Luger against Vicious and Delicious too. So good stuff across the board here. So we have Norton versus Luger. So we have Scott Norton and Lex Luger are embroiled in a heated feud. Okay, so good stuff here again. And these storylines are important, especially in 1998 WCW. No doubt about it. So here's Lex Luger. All right, so this one started. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 active feuds. Now we had a 10-match card for the previous Super Brawl. We don't have to have a 10-match card for Uncensored, and we're not going to. We're going to keep Uncensored an 8-match card. I don't think we're going to have Savage. We're definitely not going to have Hart versus Hogan at Uncensored. We're going to continue building that one up. And I don't know if we're going to have Savage versus Sting. I'd like to maybe have Hennig versus Flair as the headliner for Uncensored. Have them maybe in a cage match. But we'll see. Okay? All right, so going around, we did have a graduate come to us from the power plant. And his name was Chase Tatum. Everybody remembers Chase Tatum. I know I do. Big jacked up guy. We've put Chase Tatum into developmental. So he's down. We got those developmental deals. So I think I sent him down to Georgia with Bill Behrens. NWA Wildside. Also, everybody, I formed... Oh, wrong button. I formed an alliance with New Japan and Wrestle Association R. New Japan and WCW were super tight to begin with. they were doing talent trades all the time. Like Sting was going over there and working, Hogan was going over there and working, Savage was going over there and working. That doesn't really happen in this game unless you're in an alliance. So I just wanted to make things as realistic as possible, put them in alliance so wrestlers can go from WCW and New Japan more often. Now, I also brought War, Wrestle Association R, into the alliance strictly because I want access to Tiger Mask and Genichiro Tenryu. That is the number one reason for having War in this alliance. Plus, when we run our WCW New Japan show, we can have Tenryu and Tiger Mask on that show. Let's check on the bottom and see if I've scheduled that yet. And I have not, but we're going to. I'm just not sure what month we're going to do it. We're going to run an anniversary show this year. We're going to run it the second week of October. It's not necessarily going to be a pay-per-view. In fact, I don't think it's going to be a pay-per-view, but we're going to run a 10th anniversary show because 1998 is the 10th anniversary of Turner buying Crockett Promotions and rebranding as WCW. So we will put that WCW New Japan show in there. And I think we're going to do it here in, let's do it in November. Nothing wrong with World War III. But let's do it in November. And there is a logo in here. Just can't remember what it's called. We'll find it. That's Great American Bash. Big Bang, stupid. I'm going to say it right now. Vince Russo is an idiot. And the crap he did in WCW was just awful and just sped up its demise. Terrible Jerry Springer crap. There it is. So we're going to have the WCW New Japan Super Show. 3-hour show. It's going to be held on Saturday, week 2, November, not December, November. Ticket pricing will be very cheap. And it's going to be in Japan. So there we go. All right, so now that is booked. So there's a Super Show. Cool. All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it for us for this episode. We have Nitro tonight. I have not laid out Nitro yet. I will do that, and then we will come back and record the next episode for Nitro. Before we go, let's take a look at merchandise. And Bret Hart was the top seller, almost $1 million. Wow, the Hitman and Flair outsold Hogan. Not much for Flair, though, but more for the Hitman. Cool stuff. Also, there was something I wanted to let you know that I did. And now I don't remember. So that's all right. All right, everybody. We'll be back in action to next episode with Monday Nitro. For those of you that are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and drop us a message below. Let us know how you found the channel and what you think of us so far. For those of you that may be new to the channel, I'm sorry. We already covered that. For those of you that are looking for more, you can find it over on Patreon, patreon.com/PowerCast Network. For just $5, everybody, you'll get access to the Supermod. Soon to come will be the 1998 Supermod. You'll get access to all of our spreadsheets, all of our shows early, and YouTube ad-free, and so much more, everybody. Check it out today, patreon.com/PowerCast Network. And last but not least, don't forget you can get a free membership with Wrestling Fans International Association by just heading on over to thewfia.org and thewfia.com and sign up today. It's totally free. You'll get free membership, and you'll also get a free digital subscription to our bi-monthly publication, Wrestling Fan News. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time.